Hello, this is a little screencast to introduce you to your first project, parts 1 through 3, and that would be the CBA. And so let's go ahead and get started. So what you see here is our website on As You Learn, and if you scroll down, you'll see where we have project resources. Go ahead and click on the CBA project, and you'll see all the resources that you need here. The examples are sort of in transition. We changed some of the parts of the CBA, so you can look them over to get an idea of what's going on, but I highly advise you to stick to the guidelines and the template. So the first thing you want to do is you want to open up the guidelines, and then there are two templates. This first template is highlighted with a bunch of prompts to help you sort of fill it in. And then this one is the blank worksheet template. So when you open the first one that just says template, this is what you'll see with the yellow highlight. And then when you open the second one that says blank on it, this is what you'll see. There'll be no yellow highlight. So if you have the opportunity to have a larger screen like this, I highly recommend that you do that, or else that you shrink them down so that you can see them at the same time. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this project. The first thing you'll need to do is fill in your name, and if you're working in a group, fill in everybody's name here, the topic, the subject, the grade level, and you're going to do all of that here on your worksheet, on the one that says blank. So you're going to sort of synchronize them and go through them at the same time. So when you look at part 1, you see all the yellow highlight is sort of like the prompts to help you get going. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find a standard and objectives. And you can do that by going to the North Carolina Standard Course of Study and finding, this is what it looks like, and finding your subject area, your content area, your grade level, whatever it is that you want to do. So let's say we're going to do the essential standards. That means that you may choose to do English or technology, arts, education, health, anything like that. English is a second language. And then if you choose, you can do math and English and language arts. The Common Core, if you need to do science, you can do that. So let's just go ahead and pick one of these. I'm going to pick math since that's where we're at. Okay, so here's the standard course of study for math. Okay, and you can see it goes all the way through. It's K-12. So we're not going to scroll too far. We're going to just start here. And you can pick anything that you're interested in learning more about, or that you've done before and you want to sort of extend your knowledge on that. So any of these is fine. And when I ask you to choose an essential standard, so you'll choose this part here is the standard itself, all here in the bold. Then below it are the objectives. They call those clarifying objectives, okay? So you're going to write down this whole thing right here, okay? And then you want to make sure that you tell us what kind of type. Now, none of this is going to make sense to you right now because you have to do all the reading and then it'll make sense to you. But you'll write down the rationale for the target type, and this is in your text, okay? So the most important thing to remember is that you're going to choose one standard, and then you're going to also include those clarifying objectives, okay? Then part 2 gets a little complicated because now you're going to analyze that content. You're going to unpack it. And it talks about this also in your text, so don't panic right now. It'll make sense to you. What you'll do is now you're going to cut and paste your standard here and your clarifying objectives here. And you may have 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Okay? If you just have a standard and no clarifying objective, which is hardly ever happens, that's fine. But you want to make sure that in the gray area, you cut and paste that part. So where it says standard, I would put in this part. And then the clarifying objective, make sure you put in all of the words so that we know, I don't know what the numbers mean, so make sure you put in all of the descriptors also, okay? So that's the first part you're going to do here in the gray area. And then you're going to ask yourself these questions, and it's called unpacking. And so what you'll do is you'll say to yourself, okay, so if my standard is about representing and solving problems involving addition and subtraction, what do I want them to remember? Okay, and this is, you're going to have to give this some thought. So you want them to remember what addition and subtraction are, right? What do you want them to understand? Do you want them to understand the procedure or the process for adding and subtracting? You'll do this for each of the objectives. So let's go down to the next one. 1.0a.1. They're going to use addition and subtraction within 20 to solve word problems involving situations, all the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So again, with this descriptor here in the gray area, you're going to say, okay, so this is like a lot of mumbo jumbo. What do students need to remember? And what do students need to understand? And that's what you're going to write in the white area, okay? And you'll do that for the next one, 1.0a.2. Ask yourself, what will they remember? What will they need to understand? Okay, so that's the first part. So now you've finished this whole part here about the knowledge, okay? So that's skill. So product. So here's the next part. You want to ask yourself again, what will students take away from this experience? What will they apply, analyze, evaluate, or create? So this is all Bloom's taxonomy, okay? So again, you're going to look at your standard. Represent and solve problems involving addition and subtraction. Okay, so generally, what are they going to apply? What are they going to analyze, evaluate, and create? And this might take some research, and this might take some thought, okay? And then you ask yourself those same questions as you go down to the next two objectives. If they're going to be using addition and subtraction with word problems, what will they apply? What will they analyze? What will they evaluate? What will they create? Okay, one good way to get an idea of sort of what this might look like is to make sure that you go to the examples for the CBA products that are on our website. Okay, so make sure you look over the examples. Remember, this is Mastery Learning and it's a work in progress. Do the best that you can, ask questions if you need to, and then I'll give you lots and lots of feedback to help you sort of move forward. Okay, so I think that's the hardest part, is this unpacking part. But I'll help you, so don't worry about it. Just do the best you can. So then the third part, if you look again here, is the deconstruction of the standards into learning targets. And this one is kind of easy because it's really all in your textbook. So once you read chapter 3, it talks about how to take these crazy learning objectives and turn them into student-friendly statements. If you're in elementary education, you'll know these as I can statements. So make sure you read chapter 3, okay, and that you think about how you're going to turn these clarifying objectives into student-friendly targets, okay, and the text helps you with that. The next thing you'll do for this part 3 is you'll have to describe and classify, are they knowledge, reasoning, skill, or product, okay? So I want you to, again, look at your text and think about that learning target that now is in student-friendly language. Does it rank as knowledge, reasoning, skill, or product? Okay? And then the next thing you're going to do, again, is right out of the book. There's a chart that you will use a lot for this project, and it's on page 94. And you'll use it for the target method match activity that you've done online this week as well. Now you're going to look at that chart and you're going to say, what is the best way for me to assess this learning target type? And if you just look at the book, it tells you exactly what kind, and so you'll check those off, okay? And so that is all that you need to do for parts 1, 2, and 3. Like I said, I think part 1 and part 3 are pretty straightforward. I think part 2 can sort of give you a little hiccup. So leave yourself a little time to ask questions and think about it, look at the examples, but don't panic about it because I'll give you feedback and help you. Okay? So good luck starting your CBA project.